Before you go out and clean your tech devices like your phones, tablets, and other sensitive electronics, you want to see this video because I'm going to cover 3 common mistakes on how people are cleaning their tech devices today and how they may actually be damaging their electronics. Hi there, my name is EdTchoi. Thank you for joining me today. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. In my channel, I talk about everything to do with the office. And today we are talking about a very important topic, and that is cleaning your technology devices. Now, we all have phones, tablets, and in the business environment, you may have large format touchscreens and other peripherals that are used on a daily basis. Now, more often than not, in a business environment, it's up to the user to figure out how to clean the technology devices that surround them in an office setting. What I want to show you today are 3 common ways that people are cleaning their tech devices and how they may be damaging electronics and in some cases actually breaking them. So let's dive right into it. The first way is using isopropyl alcohol and some sort of cloth to wipe down your screen. Now on the surface, this method may look pretty safe, and in fact it is safe. 70% isopropyl alcohol is recognized by the Center for Disease Control for cleaning and disinfecting your electronic items. So what's wrong with going out to the pharmacy and picking up a bottle of alcohol? Lots of things. Well, first off, we'll talk about the alcohol, and then I'm going to talk about the different ways of wiping it down with alcohol and how that may be damaging your electronics. Number 1, having an open bottle of alcohol typically is generally not a good idea. Of course, there's a spill factor. Somebody doesn't put on the lid properly. It's just not good to have in a business environment. Some manufacturers, some display manufacturers are asking users to mix 70% isopropyl alcohol with 30% purified water. And let's face it, in a business environment, that's not really too practical, and you're in an office setting, you're not a chemist, and it's not your job. Other times, to avoid the open bottle of alcohol, somebody may put that in a spray bottle, but of course the spray bottle is not labeled. Somebody might think it's water. Again, overall not really safe, especially if you're dealing with kids in a school environment. So that's the problem with having that open bottle alcohol. The 70% isopropyl alcohol is actually good. It's not going to damage your screen, but it's the delivery. So talking about delivery, you have the alcohol. How do you get the alcohol onto your screen? Well, if I've got my phone, I have a couple options, and probably the most common option that people use is this microfiber cloth. Now you can see this cloth has seen better days. And this is exactly one of the reasons why it's not safe to use on your displays. And I'll tell you why. Microfiber cloths are amazing. I love them. But what happens is the microfiber cloth does an amazing job trapping dirt and other debris. So picture this, you're in an office setting, you drop the cloth on the ground. Who knows, people have been walking in and out of that room and they had, they could have sand or dirt on their shoes. Well, the microfiber is actually going to pick up all that dirt because it does such a good job of picking it up through the fibers. And you go to clean your screen and guess what? Scratch, 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 and your screen is scratched. So this has actually happened to a friend of mine who's an installer. He installs TV screens. And unfortunately, there was a little shard of metal. He dropped the cloth and he was going to wipe it down and it damaged the screen. It had a long streak. More importantly, aside from that potential hazard, is that in a business environment, people don't realize that these need to be laundered. So would you really put this on a $5,000 screen? I probably wouldn't. Maybe good for a whiteboard, but definitely not a screen. So microfiber cloth, in my eyes, for sensitive electronics is probably not a good match unless it's brand new and you know it's safe. So let's put that aside. The other way that people are using the alcohol or applying the alcohol to the devices is using paper towel. Now on the surface, what a great solution. There's an abundance of brown paper towel in many buildings. It's dirt cheap and there's lots of it available. The problem is, well, there's actually a few problems. Number 1, it's not absorbent. So the alcohol, when it goes on, it doesn't absorb well. And what you're doing is just smearing the stuff on your screen, and it's really not that effective. As you know, if you've ever tried picking up water or picking up a spill using brown paper towel, it's usually not very effective. So it's not really good at cleaning your screen. More importantly, though, is that this paper towel is cheap for a reason. It uses wood fiber pulp, and it's the fiber itself. You can feel it. It's a little bit, I'm not so going to say gritty, but there's some texture to it. Well, what's going to happen is over time, as you're wiping down your screen, you're creating micro scratches on your screen, and the more and more you do it, the more it's going to get scratched up, obviously. So unfortunately, it's something that you don't see right away. So on the surface, you're like, oh, I've been using it for the last week and it's no problem, or the last month. But over time, what you're going to be noticing is your screen is going to degrade, whether it be your touch screen or your phone or any other devices that have a screen surface. Now, especially if it's a touch screen, those scratches and abrasions will eventually affect the performance of the touch screen. Eventually, you'll probably have to replace the touch screen or replace the glass, all of which is super expensive. So the offset is, or in the beginning, this may seem like a cheap solution, but in the long run, it's probably going to cost you more money. So alcohol with microfiber or brown paper towel or open bottle alcohol is kind of the first no-no when it comes to cleaning your screen, especially in a business environment. Now, the second way, I'm sure you guys have all gone out to the store and purchased a canister of these disinfectant wipes. Now, these disinfectant wipes do a great job at disinfecting. A lot of people, though, don't know how the disinfectant wipes actually work. So how it works is that there's disinfectant solution inside this little tub, and as you pull the wipe out, it's super saturated with that disinfectant solution. Now, a lot of people don't realize that that disinfectant needs to stay contacted with the surface anywhere from 3 minutes to 10 minutes. So number one, in a business environment, if I had to clean a screen and I had to let this solution sit on a screen for 3 to 10 minutes, it's not really that practical. In fact, people probably won't wait the 3 to 10 minutes because they have to get stuff done. Secondly, once that solution stays on the screen or the surface for 3 to 10 minutes, it creates this haze, and that haze is actually the disinfectant working on the screen. It's supposed to be doing that. So once that haze is there, you're actually supposed to clean it again with another cloth. So it's actually a two-step process, which is not really efficient. But really getting back to the health of your tech item, if it's a screen or a sensitive optic, the chemicals in the disinfectant can actually start damaging the screen. And again, over time, it'll degrade the quality of your screen and it'll damage it, and sometimes it'll break it. Not only that, but if you have used these disinfectant wipes, you'll know that they're super saturated. That's because it's trying to carry the disinfectant from the tub to the surface. Now, the problem with that is that there's oftentimes excess moisture, which I've experienced, and that excess moisture drips along down the seams of, say, a TV. So now if you have solution dripping down the seam of a TV, that moisture can actually penetrate inside the TV and damage it, or a touch screen for that matter, or a point of sale device. So anything that has any seams, that disinfectant can seep through it and damage your electronics. And I actually have seen that happen. I had another buddy who had a calculator, and he wiped it down with the disinfectant wipe. Of course, it was overly saturated. It went through the keys and it busted his old school calculator. Now, I don't use an old school calculator, but if you do, be forewarned. So that's using the disinfectant wipes. And the last thing about these disinfectant wipes, I'm not a huge fan of, because sometimes the lids are partially open like this. And over time, I've never gone through a tub of wipes where the last wipe is still saturated, because it always seems to be drying out because the lid is kept open. So it's a bit of a nuisance, and to me, I hate wasting money. I really hate wasting money, actually. And so whenever I can't go through a whole tub of this because it's left open, it irritates me. So that's another kind of no-no. Again, that dried wipe won't damage your screen, but it's just more of an irritant for me. So disinfectant wipes, whether it be in this the wipe styles or the direct spray, again, another no-no when it comes down to your electronics. Lastly, we've all have used this. We all know what this blue bottle is. The blue bottle is a great glass cleaner. And in fact, if you have glass to clean, this is probably the way to clean it, this along with a cloth. But the problem about using this on your screens, whether again your touch screen or other sensitive optics, is that it may contain ammonia, and oftentimes it does contain ammonia, and that ammonia degrades the quality of the screen. Again, all these solutions, though, over time you'll see the degradation, and it's only when things stop being responsive that you realize that you've actually damaged a screen. So again, you might be using this today. It may work, and it may work in a couple weeks, but down the road, what you're doing is you're shortening the lifetime of your screen. So it's really, in the beginning, it looks like you may be saving money, but in the long run, you're actually doing more damage than good. So that's using the glass cleaner on the screen. Again, another no-no. Finally, I don't have this here. This is more of a bonus. So we went over the 3 methods or 3 ways that people are cleaning their screens that may be damaging it. The bonus one, it's not like it's damaging the screen, but it's using these UV filters or UV boxes. Now, in theory, or even I've heard of fogging machines where it disinfect things. Now, on the surface, that looks great, and it's probably a fantastic solution to quickly disinfect things. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't remove the dirt and grime from your fingers on the device. It just disinfects it. So disinfecting is just the first step. To me, it's like washing your hand with hand sanitizer. It sanitizes your hand, but if you have a dirt and grime caked into your fingernails, you still have to use soap and water to clean that out. So this is, the UV light boxes are great, but you still need to physically clean your device so that it functions properly and it looks good. So we're not really talking, when I talk about cleaning your electronics, I'm not just talking about removing all the gross stuff like the bacteria and the viruses that may be harbored on those tech devices. I mean, that's important. But for me, I really come from the standpoint of maximizing the performance of your tech items, especially when it comes to any sort of touchscreen. If you want the best touchscreen experience, the very best thing you can do is to have a very clean surface, and not only will it give you the best performance, but it's also going to prolong the life of your of that device that you've spent good money investing in. So it's more of it's a longer term play. And the other thing too, which is kind of an intangible, is that when you're dealing with a clean surface, whether it be a phone or a large interactive flat panel display, when you have a clean surface, it makes it feel good. You want to kind of use it. But if I saw a large touchscreen display and it had fingerprints all over it, I probably wouldn't want to touch it. A, it doesn't look inviting, it's dirty and grimy, and B, it may not be performing well because of all the fingerprints over it. So to me, it's a productivity that's an intangible, but it's another reason why I like to keep things clean. And you've probably seen my whiteboard videos if you're a regular on my channel. I like clean whiteboards, not just because it looks clean, but it inspires more creativity. And that's so important in a business environment. So I've shown you 3 ways of how not to clean your devices. Now you're gonna ask, well, Ed, how do I clean it? Well, of course, my wonderful YouTube sponsor, iCloth. I love iCloth and I use iCloth on a daily basis. The reason why iCloth is your go-to solution for cleaning technology items is that the wipes themselves are made exactly for that, is to clean sensitive optics. Now, interesting thing, before I show you the iCloth wipe and kind of how I use it to clean my tech devices, iCloth started off in the aviation industry where pilots use it to clean their flight deck, which is all their instrumentation. Now picture this, you're flying up at high altitude, 30,000 feet up in the air. The sun is super, super bright up there. Now, if you had a speck of dust on your instrumentation as a pilot, that speck of dust gets amplified with the sun. So you can't have any specks of dust on your instrumentation. And that's why iCloth is so prevalent in that aviation space, is because it does an amazing job of removing all the dirt and grime. It does actually have aviation certified material, or the cloth is aviation certified, which means it's safe for pilots to use. In fact, iCloth has large airline customers that use the iCloth wipes to groom their aircrafts, especially their in-flight entertainment systems. So this is probably one of my favorite wipes for the business environment. And how this differs from the 3 other ways that I showed you previously in terms of cleaning your electronics is that this contains the requisite 70% isopropyl alcohol that's recommended from the CDC to clean and disinfect your electronics. So number 1, it adheres to those CDC guidelines, which is important for a lot of people these days. But more importantly, it does an amazing job at removing all the dirt and grime off your device to make it function like the way it should. So this is a 9-inch by 12-inch wipe, and you can see, it's nice and big. One of these wipes will clean like an 86-inch interactive panel, plus probably some other peripheral devices like remote controls or other small touch panels. So first thing, what you'll notice with this wipe is that the material is amazing. The material, it's super absorbent. So what it does, it's got the 70% isopropyl alcohol, but instead of dabbing that on a potentially dirty cloth, or brown paper towel, which is ineffective, the perfect amount of solution is already impregnated in the cloth. So number one, it takes the guesswork out of how much alcohol to use. So the user, when they open the pack, all they have to do is use it. They don't have to think about it. Once you wipe down, as you're wiping down the cloth, so picture if this is a large format TV or another surface, as the alcohol is evaporating from the cloth itself, because the cloth is super absorbent, unlike the brown paper towel, it actually just sucks up all the dirt and grime and traps it in the cloth. So that's how the process of how it cleans your device. So it does an amazing job. And once it's cleaned and it's dried, I've got a dry cloth over here. This is what a dry cloth looks like. And of course, for you guys, it probably may look no different, but this is a dry cloth that I have on my desk. This dry cloth can now be reused. Yeah, so this is really cool. It's the only wipe that I know where you can actually reuse the wipe. You can rinse and reuse. Now, where would I reuse it? Well, if I had a disinfectant spray or a glass cleaner, this would be perfect. Just spray it on there and clean it. I probably wouldn't reuse the same cloth to wipe down your display, just in case, again, if just like the microfiber cloth, if it picks up dirt and grime, you don't want to spread that around your display. But if it's for a hard surface, like you want to clean a doorknob, you want to clean your desk, sure, get some disinfectant spray it on here, wipe it down. This is perfect use for it. You can use this over and over and over again. My guess would be like 30 or 40 uses of the dry cloth. Again, I use this just to dust my desk, which is fantastic. So this is kind of one of the reasons why when I look at buying expensive technology items, for me, I want to not only invest in the right technology, which is very important, but you really want to invest in the right cleaning methods to prolong the life of your tech item. So you don't want, this is the part where you don't want to cheap out. You don't want to go out and buy cheap alcohol wipes, which may contain ethanol or ethyl, which is actually damaging, could be damaging to your screen because they contain they may contain oily compounds or impurities. You want to spend a few extra dollars to get your screen looking sparkling clean and using the right cleaning method to protect your investment. To me, that is very, very, very important. And it's not only for that, but it's the same thing when I buy my shoes, when I buy anything, I want to be able to clean and maintain. So that was the 9-inch by 12-inch wipe from iCloth. Now it does come in another size in that 70% isopropyl wipe. So this is the personal size wipe, which is 5 inches by 7 inches. And I just want to show you kind of the size difference. I know we can talk about 5 inches by 7 inches, but sometimes it's nice to see what that looks like. So one of these wipes is actually perfect for somebody using it around a workstation to clean a keyboard, your laptop, your monitor, your mouse. This would be perfect. You have a worker that's just landed into a workstation and they're just kind of what they call hoteling. So it's not their permanent workstation, so somebody else may have used them. Give them a wipe like this, get them to wipe down the workstation. Maybe give them two, so they wipe down the workstation before and after. So this is a great way for businesses to start handing these out. Again, it's a lot easier to hand out these wipes to workers than giving them a bottle of alcohol and say, here, go nuts, here's a bottle of alcohol. Well, the distribution of the bottle of alcohol is pretty challenging. And also there's the whole other problems when it associated with the open bottle of alcohol that I mentioned. So in terms of an inventory standpoint and user standpoint, I do feel that these individual wraps are a lot more efficient and a little bit more effective when it comes to implementing cleaning protocols. Now this is the 70% isopropyl wipes, and you can tell by the red labels. What I'll do is I'll leave links down below with the different part numbers and give you a little bit more information. I just want to mention one more thing, which is in the iCloth lineup. If you guys are familiar with my channel, I do talk about iCloth quite a bit because there's a lot of cool different applications. But you'll also notice that iCloth has these boxes that have the blue label as opposed to the red label. So the blue label is actually the premium wipes. Now the premium wipes is what iCloth is known for. This is what the pilots are using. Even today, the pilots are using the premium wipes to clean their flight decks. Now, oddly enough, you may find, if you ask me how much alcohol content, I'd say it's got 25 to 30% isopropyl alcohol, which is a little bit less than the red version where it has the 70% IPA. But what it does have is 1% of our proprietary ingredients, which actually over time, the more you use it, the better it cleans. So it's a little bit tricky to describe, but the more you use it, the easier things slide off your screen display. And so that's why pilots love it, because the more they use it, the easier it is for their instrumentation to get cleaned. So that's the premium wipe. So even though it doesn't have the 70% isopropyl alcohol, the premium wipes do a phenomenal job cleaning everything, removing all the dirt and grime from your device, whether it be your glasses or your phone, your tablets, your large flat screen TVs. So by doing such an awesome job of removing all that dirt and grime, it's actually, it's making it look pristine again. And really all the nasty stuff is attached to the dirt and grime. So because it can do that, it still gives you that pristine, clean surface. And to me, I kind of relate that to washing my hands with soap and water. So soap, we all know it's not a disinfectant, but what soap and water is really good at is removing all the dirt and grime on your hands, and that dirt and grime just goes down the sink. Consider this soap and water. If you talk to people in the healthcare industry, they'll always say soap and water is king. And this is kind of in our iCloth lineup, this is kind of what I always like to promote. But I get it. People want to adhere to the CDC guidelines and they need that 70% isopropyl alcohol. So that's why we do have this iCloth solution. So this is actually a carton of the 24 XL wipes. Just kind of a fun fact, 10 of these boxes will clean an entire Boeing 747, all the in-flight entertainment systems. So fun fact on that. So there you go. I've covered the 3 ways of how not to clean your screen using alcohol and microfiber cloth or brown paper towels, or using disinfectant wipes or sprays, or using your standard glass cleaner or the UV boxes. That was the bonus. And I've covered how iCloth wipes is kind of the preferred method, and that's what I like using, because I always like having the right tool for the right job. Do me a favor. If you like this video, please feel free to share this with your friends, family, and coworkers, especially if they have touchscreen devices, which we all do in one form or another, whether it be a phone or tablet. And of course, if you haven't done so by now, what are you waiting for? Press on the subscribe button and make sure you tap on that bell so you could be notified of my video uploads. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.